Yo, what's up, everybody, and welcome back to Tales and Tabletops. Tonight, we are diving deep into some unearthed arcana.
Yeah.
We're cracking open the playtest for the upcoming Forgotten Realms Player's Guide. And we got to talk about this subclass.
Oh, yeah.
That has got everybody buzzing.
Yeah.
It's the Scion of the Three Rogue.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, you heard that right.
Mm-hmm.
This is a rogue fueled by...
It's a dead three.
The Dead Three. Bane, Baal, and Myrkul.
Whoa.
This is some seriously dark and edgy stuff. We are going to figure out if it is as badass as it sounds.
Yeah, you know what's really cool about the subclass is that it leans into the combat side of being a rogue.
Right.
It's not as much about stealth and trickery.
Right.
This is about
Yeah.
dishing out punishment and capitalizing on your enemy's weaknesses.
I'm intrigued already.
Yeah.
To help us dissect this, we've got a review
Yes.
from Bell of Lost Souls,
Okay.
a video breakdown from Comrade Warner's on YouTube,
Nice.
and we've got a whole bunch of Reddit threads. People going wild with theory crafting, optimal builds, you name it. Buckle up, because we're about to go deep on whether this subclass is going to break the game.
Break the game.
Or leave us feeling meh.
I love it. So let's start with
Right.
the core of what makes this rogue tick.
Yeah.
You know, their level 3 ability, Bloodthirst,
Yeah.
is all about punishing enemies who are already hurting.
Okay.
Basically when they're at half health or less.
I see where this is going.
You know what the game calls that?
What's that?
Bloodied.
Bloodied. So we're talking about a finisher subclass.
Yeah.
Like the rogue swoops in when the enemy's on their last legs
Uh-huh.
and just unloads.
That's the gist of it.
Okay.
So whenever you sneak attack a bloodied target,
Yeah.
you get to add extra damage equal to half your rogue level rounded up.
Oh, okay.
It's not a one-shot explosion like the Assassin's Assassinate,
Right.
but it means you're consistently dealing more damage throughout a fight,
Gotcha.
especially against those big, beefy enemies that stay bloodied for a while.
Yeah. I can see how that would be really satisfying.
Yeah.
Especially for folks that like that feeling of being a relentless predator.
Yes.
You're wearing them down and then bam, you deliver the killing blow with some extra oomph.
For sure.
Wait, there's more to Bloodthirst, right?
Oh, yeah.
Something about teleporting?
Uh-huh.
Tell me.
Uh-huh.
There's teleporting.
Oh, there is teleporting.
All right.
This is where things get really, really interesting.
Okay.
When any enemy you can see drops to 0 hit points.
Okay.
It doesn't even have to be from your attack.
Oh, wow.
You can use your reaction to teleport up to 30 feet and make a melee attack.
Hold up. A free teleport and an attack just because someone kicked the bucket.
Yes.
That sounds absolutely bonkers.
Yep.
Is there like a limit on that?
Yeah.
Because if not, I'm already theory crafting some ridiculous multi-class combos.
There is a catch.
Okay.
You can only do this a number of times equal to your intelligence modifier. And you only get those uses back after a long rest.
The classic intelligence tag.
Yeah.
So it's not an unlimited I win button,
Right.
but it's still a pretty powerful tool, especially if you're smart about when and where you use it.
Absolutely.
I'm picturing a rogue popping around the battlefield like Nightcrawler from X-Men.
Yes.
Just cleaning up after the big hitters.
Exactly. It's very thematic
Yeah.
for this subclass.
Yeah.
You're fueled by death and the chaos of battle.
Right.
So it makes sense that seeing an enemy fall would trigger such a potent reaction.
Okay, so we've got this teleporting bloodthirsty rogue
Yes.
who's basically a Grim Reaper on the battlefield.
Uh-huh.
But let's talk about their connection to the Dead Three, Bane, Baal, and Myrkul.
Yes.
How does that actually play out mechanically?
Yeah, that comes in at level 3 with the Dread Allegiance feature.
Okay.
You get to choose one of the Dead 3 to pledge your allegiance to.
Okay.
And each god gives you different benefits.
Oh, choices.
Yes.
I love choices.
Yeah.
Lay it on me.
All right, so if you go with Bane, the god of tyranny,
Uh-huh.
you get resistance to psychic damage
Okay.
and the minor illusion cantrip. Nice.
Baal, the god of murder, grants resistance to poison damage
Okay.
and the Blade Ward cantrip.
I like it.
And Myrkul, the god of death, gives you resistance to necrotic damage and the Chill Touch cantrip.
Okay, so some serious flavor and some useful perks.
Yes,
Getting resistance to a damage type is always welcome,
for sure.
especially for a rogue who might be getting up close and personal with some nasty enemies.
Uh-huh.
And a cantrip as a rogue. I'm not complaining.
Yep.
What do you think are the best choices there?
Oh,
Purely from a mechanical standpoint.
it depends.
Okay.
I think it really depends on your campaign
All right.
and what kind of enemies you're facing. You know,
Yeah.
poison damage is pretty common.
Yeah.
So Baal might be a good choice for survivability,
Uh-huh.
but minor illusion is super versatile.
Right.
Creating distractions, providing cover,
Yeah.
all sorts of fun stuff.
Yeah.
And Chill Touch can be surprisingly effective for shutting down healing
Right.
or dealing with pesky undead. It really comes down to your playstyle.
Your playstyle. And your DM style, too.
Right. Some DMs are all about throwing fireballs and lightning bolts,
Totally.
while others might be more into creepy curses and shadowy shenanigans.
Yeah, for sure.
So you gotta adapt.
Gotta adapt.
But overall, it seems like you get some solid choices
Yeah.
right from level 3.
Yes.
Which is cool. You can really start customizing your Scion of the 3 to fit your concept.
Absolutely.
Oh.
All right, so we've covered the level 3 awesomeness.
Yeah.
But what happens when these rogues level up
Yeah.
and get even more attuned to the Dead 3?
Yeah, I'm dying to know. Do they, like, sprout shadowy wings?
Ooh.
Summon spectral daggers?
Uh-huh.
Turn into a mini-Paul? Give me the juicy details.
Well, no transformation into a mini-god just yet.
Oh.
But at level 9, they get a new cunning action option called Strike Fear.
Cunning action. That's where rogues really get to shine.
Yes.
So what kind of fear are we talking here? Does the rogue, like, stare intensely at the enemy and make them pee their pants?
Yeah. It's more than just an intense stare.
Okay.
Though I'm sure a good role player could make that work.
Right.
The effect is called Terrify.
Like.
It costs 1d6 of sneak attack damage,
Okay.
but the payoff can be huge.
Okay, so we're trading a bit of damage for some serious mind games.
Yeah.
I like it. But what does Terrify actually do?
So if the target fails a wisdom saving throw, they are frightened for a whole minute.
Whoa.
A frightened creature can't move towards you
Okay.
and has disadvantage on attack rolls and ability checks. It's basically shutting down an enemy for a significant amount of time.
A whole minute? That's insane. We're talking about turning a raging ogre into a whimpering puppy for a solid minute.
Yes.
But doesn't the enemy get to make a new saving throw each round?
Right. They get to try to shake off the fear at the end of each of their turns.
Okay.
But even a couple of rounds of being terrified can turn the tide of a fight.
Right.
Especially if it keeps an enemy off your squishy wizard or cleric.
Oh, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
I can see this being a lifesaver in those clutch moments when your party's about to get overrun. Don't worry, guys. I got this. Poof. Teleport behind the biggest, baddest dude. You're terrified. Go sit in the corner and think about what you've done.
It plays into that psychological warfare aspect of the subclass perfectly.
Yeah.
They're not just hitting enemies where it hurts physically.
Right.
They're messing with their minds, exploiting their fears, turning them against their allies.
So at this point, we've got a teleporting, damage-boosting, fear-mongering rogue, fueled by the power of literal death gods.
Yes.
Are we sure this isn't a villain subclass? They're sounding pretty OP. What else did they get?
Well, at level 13, they get even scarier with Aura of Malevolence.
And aura. Nice.
Yeah.
So are we talking about a visible cloud of darkness swirling around them?
Okay.
Or more of a subtle, creepy feeling that makes everyone nearby uncomfortable?
It's a 10-foot radius emanation.
Okay.
So everyone within that range can feel its presence
Okay.
at the start of each of the rogue's turns.
Ah.
They can choose any creatures in that aura
Yeah.
to take damage equal to their intelligence modifier.
Hold on. Damage just for existing.
Yeah.
Talk about adding insult to injury. That's a passive damage aura on top of everything else they can do.
Yeah.
Okay, this is officially getting ridiculous.
Yeah. The damage type depends on which god you chose.
Right.
For Dread Allegiance.
Okay.
Bane is psychic damage.
Ah.
Baal is poison.
Right.
And Myrkul is necrotic.
So not only can you teleport behind an enemy,
Yes.
stab them for extra damage and make them run away whimpering,
Mm-hmm.
but now you're also just passively melting anyone who gets too close.
It's true.
This rogue is basically a walking hazard zone.
It is a strong ability.
Yeah.
And it ignores resistance to those damage types.
Right.
But keep in mind, it doesn't ignore immunity.
Right.
And the aura is inactive while the rogue is incapacitated.
Right. So a well-timed hold person spell from the enemy wizard could shut it down pretty quickly.
Yeah.
But still, this is a huge boost to their damage output, especially in those big, messy battles where everyone's clustered together.
Exactly. The Scion of the Three thrives in those chaotic situations
Yeah.
where they can manipulate the battlefield with fear
Right.
and punish enemies who get caught in their web of death magic.
Okay, so level 13, we're a walking nuke of death and despair.
Yeah.
What about the final level, the grand finale,
Okay.
the ultimate power move at level 17?
Yeah.
What happens then?
At level 17, they become a Dread Incarnate.
Ooh, Dread Incarnate. That sounds ominous.
Yes.
Lay it on me. What are these ultimate bad boy powers? Do they finally get those spectral daggers I was talking about?
No spectral daggers.
Ah,
but something even better.
Okay.
First, you get advantage on attack rolls against any creature that's frightened.
Mm.
Remember that strike fear ability from level 9?
Yeah.
Now it's even more potent
Yeah.
because you're almost guaranteed to land those sneak attacks.
So you're telling me that not only can I terrify my enemies into submission,
Yes.
but now I also get to hit them more easily. That's just cruel. I love it. What's the second benefit?
The second benefit might seem small at first,
Okay.
but it's a really nice touch.
Right.
When you roll damage for your sneak attack,
Yeah.
you can treat any rolls of 1 or 2 on the dice as if they were a 3.
Wait, so no more whiffing on those sneak attack dice?
Right.
You're guaranteeing a minimum amount of damage on every roll.
Yeah.
Okay, that's pretty awesome, especially at higher levels when you're rolling a ton of dice.
Yes.
No more feeling like the dice gods are conspiring against you.
It ensures consistency,
Yeah?
especially for a subclass that relies on landing sneak attacks to maximize its damage output.
Okay, so we've got a guaranteed minimum damage output on sneak attacks,
Uh-huh.
plus advantage on attacks against frightened enemies.
Yes.
That's a pretty solid capstone, right?
It's definitely strong, but some people argue that it's a little underwhelming
Yeah.
compared to the capstone abilities of other rogue subclasses.
Yeah, I get it. No invisibility,
Yeah.
no extra actions,
Yeah.
no sudden mind control powers.
Hmm.
It's more about refining what the subclass already does well,
Yes.
which is consistently dishing out damage
Right.
and manipulating the battlefield with fear.
Exactly. It's a matter of preference.
Yeah.
Some players crave those big, flashy abilities
Yeah.
that completely change the game. Others prefer a more subtle
Right.
but effective power boost
Yeah.
that complements their play style.
True. I think it comes down to how you envision your character
Yes.
and what kind of impact you want to have in the game.
Yeah.
If you want to be a relentless, terrifying force of nature,
Uh-huh.
then this capstone will definitely do the trick.
For sure.
But if you're hoping for something that completely redefines your character's abilities,
Yeah.
you might be a little disappointed. Okay, so we've broken down the Scion of the 3 rogues' abilities, and they're definitely a force to be reckoned with.
Yeah.
But let's be real.
Yeah.
Are they actually fun to play?
Right.
Because at the end of the day, that's what really matters.
Absolutely. That is the million-dollar question.
Right.
And it's one that's sparking a lot of debate in the D&D community.
For sure.
Some players are already calling this subclass OP,
Really?
saying it's going to dominate the game.
Wow.
Others think it's underwhelming,
Okay.
especially in those early levels.
Yeah, I can see both sides of the argument.
Yeah.
Like, on paper, it sounds amazing.
Right.
Teleporting around, dishing out bonus damage, freaking out your enemies.
Uh-huh.
But how does that actually translate to the table?
I think a lot depends
Okay.
on your playstyle and what you're looking for in a rogue subclass.
Okay.
If you're all about stealth infiltration and being a smooth talker,
Yeah.
this might not be the subclass for you.
Right.
But if you want to be a terrifying force of nature on the battlefield,
Uh-huh.
someone who thrives in the chaos and revels in their enemy's fear,
Oh, yeah.
then the Scion of the 3 could be an absolute blast.
Right. It's not your typical rogue.
He's not.
This is a rogue who's all about confronting their enemies head on,
Yes.
embracing the darkness, and becoming a literal nightmare for anyone who gets in their way.
Exactly. It's a rogue who's as comfortable in the thick of combat as they are lurking in the shadows.
Yeah.
They're not afraid to get their hands dirty, and they're certainly not afraid of a little bloodshed.
Okay, so let's break it down.
Right.
What are the biggest strengths of this subclass?
Yeah.
The things that really make it shine.
I think one of the biggest strengths is the consistency of their damage output.
Okay.
Unlike some other rogue subclasses that rely on big, splashy abilities that you can only use once per combat,
Yeah.
the Scion of the 3 has multiple ways to boost their damage throughout a fight.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. It's not about that one big I win moment.
Mm-hmm.
It's about constantly applying pressure, wearing down your enemies,
Right.
and being a threat from the moment combat starts
Yeah.
to the moment the last enemy drops.
Exactly. You got Bloodthirst giving you bonus damage against bloody targets.
Yeah.
The teleport attack letting you reposition and potentially get a second sneak attack.
Right.
And then Aura of Malevolence adding a passive damage aura to the mix.
Right.
It all adds up to make the Scion of the 3 a real force to be reckoned with.
And then you throw in the fear manipulation, which is just icing on the cake,
Oh, yeah.
turning an enemy against its allies
Uh-huh.
or forcing it to flee in terror
Right.
can completely change the tide of a battle.
Absolutely. It's not just about raw damage. It's
Yeah.
about controlling the battlefield, disrupting the enemy's plans, and using their own fear against them.
Right.
It adds a whole other layer of strategy and tactics to playing a rogue,
Right.
which is really cool.
Okay, so we've talked about the good stuff. Now let's get real.
Okay.
What are the weaknesses?
Uh-huh.
Because it's no subclass is perfect, right?
Yeah.
What are the potential downsides of playing a Scion of the 3 rogue?
One of the biggest drawbacks, and it's something that a lot of people are pointing out, is
Okay.
the reliance on intelligence.
Oh yeah, that's right.
For most rogues, dexterity is king. But with this subclass, you have to invest in intelligence if you want to get the most out of your abilities.
Yeah, that's a bit of a bummer.
Yeah.
I can already see myself agonizing over those ability scores, trying to find that perfect balance between dexterity for hitting those sneak attacks and intelligence for teleporting and maximizing my aura of malevolence.
It definitely adds a layer of complexity
Yeah.
to character creation and leveling up.
Right.
You have to make some tough choices.
Yeah.
And you might not be able to be as effective in every area as a rogue who is purely focused on dexterity.
So it's a trade-off.
Yeah.
You get these amazing abilities,
Right.
but you have to sacrifice some of that traditional rogue agility and finesse. What else are people saying about the downsides of this subclass?
Another common complaint is that the early levels can feel a bit underwhelming.
Yeah.
You know, the limited uses of the teleport attack, and the fact that Bloodthirst only really kicks in when enemies are below half health means you might not feel as powerful as some other rogue subclasses right out of the gate.
Yeah, I can see that. There's definitely a ramp-up period with this subclass.
Yes.
You're not going to be a teleporting, fear-inducing whirlwind of death
Right.
from level 1.
Right.
It takes time to build up those abilities and really lean into that playstyle.
Exactly. And for some players, that might feel too slow or frustrating. They want to feel like a badass from the moment they roll their character.
Yeah.
But for others, that gradual progression,
Yeah.
that sense of unlocking your character's true potential over time,
Right.
can be incredibly rewarding.
Right. It's all about finding the right fit
Yes.
for your playstyle and your expectation.
Exactly.
Some people want instant gratification,
Right.
while others enjoy the journey of becoming a powerful character.
And that's what's so great about D&D.
Yeah.
There are so many different ways to play,
Huh.
so many different character concepts and builds to explore. It's all about finding what works for you and having fun with it.
Okay, so we've covered the strengths. We've talked about the weaknesses.
Yes.
What's the final verdict?
Okay.
Is the Scion of the 3 rogue a good subclass?
I think it has the potential to be a fantastic subclass.
Okay.
But it really depends on the individual player and their group.
Okay.
If you're looking for a rogue who breaks the mold, who thrives in combat, and embraces the darker side of the roguish archetype,
Yeah.
then this subclass is definitely worth checking out.
All right.
But if you're more into stealth, social manipulation, and those classic rogue tropes, you might want to consider other options.
Right. It's not a one-size-fits-all kind of subclass.
It is not.
It's a unique and flavorful option that caters to a specific type of player and a specific type of campaign.
For sure.
But for those who are drawn to its dark allure,
Uh-huh.
the Scion of the 3 rogue has the potential to be an incredibly rewarding and memorable character to play.
Absolutely. And I think that's what's so exciting about Unearthed Arcana. And the playtest process, it gives us a chance to experiment with new ideas, to push the boundaries of what's possible in D&D,
Right.
and to discover new ways to tell stories and create amazing characters.
Couldn't have said it better myself. So to all our listeners out there,
Yes.
if you're intrigued by the Scion of the 3 rogue, don't be afraid to give it a try.
Yeah.
Experiment with different builds, explore different play styles, and see what kind of chaos you can unleash on your campaign world.
And let us know how it goes.
Yeah.
We're always eager to hear about your experiences,
Right.
your triumphs, your epic fails, and your most creative character concepts. So head over to our Discord,
Yeah.
hit us up on Twitter, leave a comment on our YouTube channel,
Yep.
Stitch Chat.
And that's a wrap for this deep dive into the Scion of the 3 rogue. Until next time, keep those dice rolling, and may your adventures be filled with thrilling battles, terrifying